How are you all? I hope you all are well. So welcome back. So today we are going to continue our topic where we have left in the previous video. So we were doing the chemical bonding. In that video we have already discussed that what are the types of the chemical bonding, why the atom used to combine, and the one of the type of the chemical bonding, that is ionic or electrovalent chemical bonding, already we have discussed. Means we have discussed about that how the ionic bonding takes place and how the ionic compounds used to form, and their dot structures also we have discussed. So if you haven't seen that video, you can just click on the I button and just go through that. Now we are going to continue from the topic where we left. Now we are going to continue with our next topic, that is properties of ionic compound. Now ionic compounds are formed, so now we have to see that what will be the properties of the ionic compound. So we are going to see it one by one. So the first property of the ionic compound is that they have strong electrostatic force of attraction between combining atoms. Okay, so whatever the atoms which are participating during the formation of the ionic compound, they will be having a strong electrostatic force of attraction. Now why electrostatic force of attraction is there? Because the charges which are going to be there, that is positive and negative charges, that is cation and anions, which are going to be formed. So because of that cation and anion, the strong electrostatic force of attraction will be existing between the cation and anion, that is, and that results into the formation of a type of a compound which are generally, that is our second property, which are generally solid in state. Okay, so when we say ionic compound exist in solid state. Okay, and generally at room temperature we are talking about. Okay, so they will be existing as a solid at room temperature generally. Okay, so that is one of the point. Then third point, which is again related to the second point, as they are solid, and we know that solids, if a solid substance is there and it is solid at room temperature, then it must be having the higher melting point and boiling point. So same is with ionic compound also. So ionic compounds have high melting point and boiling point. In short, I have written MP and BP, means melting point and boiling point. Now the last point is there, which is very very important for the ionic compound, that they are good conductor of electricity. Ionic compounds are good conductor of electricity, but as I told you that they are existing in the solid state at room temperature, but in solid state they are not good conductor. If we are talking about suppose sodium chloride, that is common salt, in solid state it is not going to conduct electricity. The conductivity of the ionic compound is due to the charge present on the cation and anion, that is positively charged particles are there, that is cation and anion, but when they used to combine with each other, they neutralize each other effect, and when they neutralize each other effect, it results in the formation of a solid. Okay, so when the solid is going to be formed, then they cannot conduct electricity at that state. So if the ionic compounds are going to conduct electricity, they are going to conduct electricity only in the molten or in aqueous state. So basically ionic compounds are good conductor of electricity, but only in molten state or aqueous state. Okay, so they are good conductor of electricity, but only in the molten state or in the aqueous state. Suppose we have the example of sodium chloride, which is solid at room temperature. It will not conduct electricity. Okay, in this state it will not conduct electricity. But suppose if the same sodium chloride, I am making the aqueous solution of it, means I am using water to make its solution, then what is going to happen? This sodium chloride is made up of cation and anion. So this sodium chloride is going to dissociate into the cation and the anion in the aqueous state, or we can have the molten state also. If we have their molten state also, then also the particles in the ionic form will be existing there, and because of this charged particle, the ionic compound can conduct electricity. Okay, so they are good conductor of electricity, but only in the molten or in aqueous state. So that is very, very important that you must remember. So here the reason for the conductivity is not electronic, the reason for the conductivity is electrolytic. Okay, because of the ions, the conductivity is there. Okay, so these are the 4 points, that is the properties of ionic compound. First, strong electrostatic force of attraction between them because of the positive and negative charge particle. Ionic compound exists in solid state because strong electrostatic force means they will be particles are going to be close with each other, and they will be existing in the solid state. They are having high melting and boiling point because solid is already always having, when it is in solid at room temperature, it means they will be having higher melting point and boiling point, and they are good conductor of electricity, but only in their molten or in aqueous state. So these are the properties of the ionic compound. Now one more point is there, that what are the conditions for the formation of the ionic compound. Now in the previous video we have discussed that what type of the element usually can form ionic compound. Okay, now I am telling you the condition also, that what condition should be there, then only the ionic compound can be formed. So the thing is, that is condition for the formation of ionic compound. What are the conditions under which the ionic compound can be formed? Okay, so that is very, very important. Now only 2 conditions are required, as already we have discussed that usually metals and non-metals used to combine and they will form the ionic compound. Generally the element from the group 1st and 2nd and the element from the group 16, 17 or 15 can form the ionic compound. So basically we are talking about metals and non-metals. So when we say about metal, the metal or the cation which is going to be formed during the formation of ionic compound, that metal should have low ionization potential. Okay, whatever the metal is going to be there, that should have low ionization potential. If you remember, ionization potential means the amount of energy required to remove the electron from the isolated gaseous atom. So if the ionization potential is less, then element or the atom is going to lose electron easily. If easily it can lose electron, it can form or it can be converted into the form of cation easily. So hence the metal, if it is there, it should have low ionization potential to become cation. Okay, that is one thing. Then the second point is there. Then the second point is related to the non-metal only. Now non-metal should have high electron affinity. Okay, if the non-metal is going to be there, it should have high electron affinity. Okay, what is the meaning of that? Electron affinity, if you remember, we have already made the video on that. That is the properties, periodic properties of the elements. So electron affinity means the amount of energy released when an electron is going to be added to the isolated gaseous atom. So if a non-metal is going to be there, it is going to accept the electron. So if it is having the high electron affinity, then it can accept the electron easily. So metal and non-metal which are participating during the formation of ionic compound, metal should have low ionization potential and non-metal should have high electron affinity. Then the ionic compound can be easily formed. So that is all about ionic compound. Okay, So one type of bonding we have discussed. Now we are going to discuss about the next type of bonding, that is covalent bonding. About the second type of the bonding, that is known as covalent bonding. Now what is this covalent bonding all about? Covalent bonding is the second type of a bonding which usually exists in the type of the atoms which cannot have the as we have seen the conditions required for the ionic bond. Like they will be maybe having the low value of the electron affinity, okay, and maybe the high value of ionization potential is there, or basically they will be non-metals. So usually between the non-metals the covalent bonding used to take place. Now what is this covalent bonding all about? First we are going to discuss that. Covalent bonding is that type of a bonding. Suppose we have two atoms A and B, and A will be having the value of high ionization potential while B will be having the value of the low electron affinity. In such case they will be not able to transfer the electron, or A will not able to transfer the electron to B, or B will be not able to get the electron or accept the electron from A. So usually in such case they used to share the electron with each other, okay. They are going to share electron with each other. So when they are going to share the electron with each other, a kind of a bond is going to be formed here which is directional, okay. That's why here we use a line to represent a bond between the two atoms, okay. Like suppose if a bond is formed between A and B, I will be writing like A bond B. That is happening in the case of the ionic bond, because a kind of a bond is formed due to the sharing of electron which is directional. Basically the electrons are shared between the atoms of the nucleus. So the nucleus of the two or more atoms come closer to each other, so that there will be a certain distance maintained. So in such case the covalent bonding is going to be take place. There is no charge separation, like means the full charge separation is there, like no positive or negative charge will be there, but a kind of a bond will be formed, association will be there, attractive force will be there between the two, which results in the formation of bond, and such bond is known as covalent bond. Here we are representing a line to represent the bond, but not in the case of the ionic bond, because ionic bond there are electrostatic force of attraction which is there, so no bond or no direction is going to be there, but here it is directional. So the type of a bonding which is due to the sharing of electrons between two or more atoms, then such type of bonding is known as covalent bonding, and the type of a bond which is going to be formed is known as covalent bond. Now covalent bond can be of three types, okay. There are three types of the covalent bond. One is known as polar covalent bond, and other is going to be non-polar covalent bond. As I already told you that there is no charge present when there were this kind of a sharing of electron between the atom is there, but sometime what will happen, suppose we have two atoms together like A and B, and suppose one of the atom like B is more electronegative, okay, that is B is more electronegative as compared to A. So the one which is more electronegative as compared to A, the shared pair of electron will be, the part of the shared pair of electron will be more toward the nucleus of B. So the bond here will be directed toward the B. So when the bond is going to be directed toward the B, then due to the extra part as it is sharing, it will acquire a very small negative charge like this, okay, while the A from which the electron is moving away, so it will acquire a very small positive charge. So a kind of a charge separation will be there between the atoms which are sharing the electrons, okay. So this is known as charge separation, okay. So because of this charge separation, the type of a bond, because it is more polarized, as it is the part of the electron pair which is shared toward the more electronegative atom is moving toward the more electronegative atom. Such type of a covalent bond is known as polar covalent bond. Although there is a sharing between the atom, but the type of a bond is known as polar covalent bond. Okay. One more type is there, that is non-polar covalent bond. Here, suppose if A and B are combining and forming a bond by sharing of electrons, then in such case they will be having same or similar electronegativity. Okay, the atoms which are forming such kind of a bond will be having a same or similar electronegativity. Same when the same atoms are going to combine, and similar means the atom may be different, but they will be having the similar electronegativity. Not much difference in the electronegativity is there. If you remember, electronegativity also we have discussed in the periodic classification of the elements. So electronegativity means the tendency to attract the electron pair toward the nucleus for a certain atom. So if the same or similar electronegativity is there, there is no charge separation. Okay, and such type of the covalent bond is known as non-polar covalent bond. So okay, you understand. So any type of bond which is formed by the sharing of electron is known as covalent bond. There are two types, polar and non-polar. Polar are one which will be having the charge separation, as more electronegative element will pull the electron more toward itself, while the other one is there which is not having any charge. There is no charge separation will be there because the electronegativity of the combining atom is similar. Okay, so that is two type. But when the atom used to combine with each other, they may share different number of electrons. Not necessary that only one electron is required, two electron they can share, or maybe three. Maximum 3 electron pair they can share. Why they used to share? We already discussed, because atoms want to attain noble gas configuration. So while doing so, the atoms can share maybe multiple number of electrons between each other. Okay, so I am giving you the examples of it. You can see the first is like we are talking about hydrogen and hydrogen. Okay, suppose two hydrogen atoms are there. Electronic configuration of hydrogen is 1 only because hydrogen is having atomic number 1. So suppose this is the electron of hydrogen and this is the electron of other hydrogen. Now they cannot have the noble configuration of, by achieving the octet, because only one electron is there, but they can achieve the noble gas configuration of helium. So they can share these two electrons. Okay, and when they share these two electrons, it results in the formation of a bond between them, that is hydrogen hydrogen, and a compound is going to, molecule is going to be formed, or compound is going to be formed, that is H2. Okay, H2 gas is going to be formed. So the bond which is formed here is a single bond. Okay, the bond which is formed here is a single bond. Now one more example is there. Suppose we have oxygen atom and one more oxygen atom. Now you know oxygen is having an atomic number equivalent to 8. Okay, so oxygen will be having the 6 electron present in their valence shell. Okay, so that is also same for the other oxygen also, that is having a 6 electron present in their valence shell. Okay, now oxygen needs two electrons to complete their octet. So for that they need to share 2 electrons with each other. So when they share 2 electrons with each other like this, okay, it results in the formation of a bond. But as now 2 electron pairs are there, the bond which is formed is represented by 2 lines. That is, the bond which is going to be formed is a multiple bond. Okay, or we can say it as double bond. Okay, so a double bond is going to be existing between the atom, and it results in the formation of oxygen gas. Okay, one more example is there. Like suppose if nitrogen is there and one more nitrogen is there. Okay, now nitrogen is having an atomic number equivalent to 7. So it will be having the 5 electrons in its valence shell. Like suppose these are the 5 electrons which are present there. Same is with other nitrogen. So nitrogen used to share 3 electrons. Why? Because nitrogen is having 5 electrons in its valence shell, so it requires 3 to complete octet. So it will share 3 electron pairs, and it results in the formation of multiple bond again, and this time triple bond, because 3 bonds are going to be formed as 3 electron pairs are shared, and result in the formation of nitrogen gas. as due to the presence of this multiple bond, there is more force of attraction existing between the nitrogen atoms, and nitrogen molecule is going to be more stable as compared to the previous two, if you can see, and hence it is going to be inert at room temperature usually. So these are the three types of the bond which we have seen that can be formed between the atoms while sharing the electrons. Okay, now we are going to see some more examples where the different atoms means the different elements atoms are going to be utilized, and they will be used for the formation of a bond, where we can also see the formation of the polar covalent bond. If you see here, the same atoms are, that is elements, same elements atoms are combining, and hence there will be no difference in the electronegativity. Because of this, these are all non-polar covalent bond. Okay, now we are going to see the examples of the different element combination where sometime polar and sometime non-polar bonds are going to be formed. So let's see. So students, now we are going to see some more structures related to the covalent bonding. Now first example I am going to give you for the methane, that is CH4. Okay, now in such case usually when different elements are there, then important thing is that which element is going to be acting as a central element. Okay, because actually two elements are there of same type, then both the elements are of same type, so they can be placed anywhere. But if the elements of different type are there, then which element should be kept at the center? The element which is less electronegative as compared to the other, okay, that is going to be kept at the center. And which is less electronegative, you can just go through the periodic properties. Okay, I made one video on that, so you can just click on the item button and just check it, okay, about the periodic properties. So here the carbon is going to be the less electronegative element. So suppose this is the carbon element I am showing you, and one more element, that is hydrogen, and there are 4 hydrogen, so I am keeping 4 hydrogen here like this. Okay, so 4 hydrogen atom is there. Now carbon, if you remember, is having the atomic number equivalent to 6, so configuration is 2, 4. So how many electrons are there in outermost shell of the carbon? That is 4. So carbon is going to have 4 valence electron like this. Okay, now hydrogen already we have discussed, that is only having 1 electron. Now I am representing the electrons of the hydrogen by using cross, because this time elements are different. Okay, that time the element was same, so we have represented with dot only. Now this type of representation which we are doing here and which we have done before also, that is known as Lewis dot structure representation for the covalent compound. Okay, for the ionic compound we have already done, so this is for the covalent compound. So that is how you have to represent, only valence shell electrons you are going to represent. Okay, that is how. Now so that is how the electron pairs are going to be arranged around the carbon and hydrogen. Now if you see, hydrogen is sharing 1 electron with the carbon, so its duplet is complete. Same is with other one, same is here, and same is here. Okay, so their duplets are complete. Now carbon is sharing all electrons, so carbon is required to complete its octet. Okay, so its octet is also going to be complete, and that is how the bonding is going to be there. So if you see, 1 electron is going to be shared by carbon atom with each hydrogen atom. So it's not that 4 bonds are going to be formed, only single bond with each hydrogen atom is going to be formed. Important thing is that carbon and hydrogen is not having much difference in their electronegativity. So as carbon and hydrogen is not having much electronegativity difference, they will be forming the non-polar covalent bond. Okay, so the type of the bond which is going to be formed here is going to be non-polar. So the structure which is going to be formed in such case will be like this: carbon bonded with hydrogen, bonded with hydrogen, bonded with hydrogen, bonded with hydrogen. That is our methane is going to be formed. Okay, so this results in the formation of a methane. Okay, understood? So that is how the sharing is going to take place between the elements of different atom. One more example we are going to see, that is the example of the hydrogen chloride. Okay, we are talking about hydrogen chloride. Okay, student, one thing you must always know, that when we are saying, if you have seen in books, sometime it will be written hydrogen chloride. sometime it will be written hydrochloric acid, but the formula is same, that is HCl. Basic difference is when we are saying hydrogen chloride, it means the gaseous hydrogen chloride, that is a combination of hydrogen chlorine we are talking about. When that same hydrogen chloride gas is dissolved in water, that is known as hydrochloric acid. So that is the difference, okay, that I want to tell you, so I have told you. Now this is hydrogen chloride. Now you know that only 2 atoms are there, so we are writing it as like chlorine, okay, and the other atom which is there is hydrogen. So the electron of hydrogen I am representing with the with the cross, and the electron of chlorine I am representing with the dot. Now hydrogen is having 1 electron, but chlorine is having 7 electron in its valence shell, so it will be represented like this, okay. Now the important thing is, now hydrogen and chlorine both are going to share 1 electron only, so it will be like this, okay, but the chlorine is more electronegative here, okay. Chlorine is more electronegative as compared to hydrogen. So in such case, the bond between hydrogen and chlorine is going to form, but hydrogen will be acquiring a small positive charge and chlorine will be acquiring a very small negative charge, okay. This is known as delta, positive, delta, negative, okay. Very small charge is represented by delta. So the type of a bond which is formed here is polar covalent bond, because the chlorine is more electronegative as compared to hydrogen, so its nucleus will pull more the electron pair more toward its nucleus. So in such case the bond is going to be directional, okay, and there will be a charge separation. So this is the example of the elements where one is more electronegative and other is less electronegative, okay. One more example we are going to see, the example of NH3, also known as ammonia, okay, ammonia gas. Now in case of ammonia gas, nitrogen is going to be in the center, okay, as more number of electrons are there in the nitrogen, and it requires to share the electrons with the hydrogen atom like this. Now hydrogen will be having 1 electron here, 1 electron here, 1 electron, sorry, hydrogen we can represent it with the cross, okay, like this, and nitrogen's electrons will be represented by dot. Nitrogen have 5 electrons, so here the electrons pairs are going to be represented like this. So in this case also 1 electron pair is shared like this by the hydrogen atom, and nitrogen is going to share the rest of the electrons and will result in the formation of a bond, that is a single bond between the nitrogen and hydrogen, that is nitrogen, hydrogen, nitrogen, hydrogen, nitrogen, hydrogen, okay. So that is going to be formed here, okay. So it results in the formation of the ammonia molecule. Now here again nitrogen is more electronegative as compared to hydrogen, so in such case nitrogen will acquire a very small negative charge while other will acquire a very small positive charge, okay. So this is another example of polar covalent bond, okay. So that is how one more type of the polar covalent bond is going to be formed. Now as I am representing that how the electron pairs are shared between the atom by using these round figures, if you want to draw that, it's okay. If you don't want to draw it, then it also, if you represent the electron pairs with the between the atoms only, that is also okay, because it represents that electron pairs are shared between those atoms, okay. So that is up to you. So that is how it is there, going to be there. So that is how the covalent bonds are going to be formed, okay. Now we are going to discuss the properties of the covalent bond and a type of a covalent bond, but separate to that we can say the coordinate bond. So that type of bonding also we are going to discuss, and hydrogen bonding also we are going to discuss in our next video, okay. For this video that's it. So like my channel, subscribe it, and please share it to maximum. See you in the next video.